When introducing a sacred word that one has chosen silently without speaking it, since we're withdrawing deliberately from our external senses for this period of time, 20 to 30 minutes as a rule for beginners, we move into the second step, which is interior silence. Now, interior silence is wordless prayer, letting go of every deliberate thought, image, feeling, sensation, self-reflection, or even spiritual consolation in a practical way. And that practical way is in disregarding them. And they are almost certain to arise in one form or another, since the imagination and our self-consciousness is a perpetual motion faculty that has been cultivated over years through the development of the false self and the ego, and feels uncomfortable when it doesn't think and doesn't know at first what to do with silence, or whether silence is anything in the first place you can do something with it. In other words, it's movement beyond the ordinary realms of thinking and judging and commenting and reflecting. And if all the other thoughts dissolve, there still is the thought that I have no thoughts. So the I thought is the last bastion of the ego self, the exponent, you might say, of the separate self sense that we pointed out is the radical cause of most of the, or all the difficulties of our spiritual journey. So silence then slips into a further development as the time goes on, which might be called stillness, or further depths of silence, a simple, loving, and general attentiveness to the silence rather than a repetition of the sacred word, but using the sacred word when that feels necessary or comfortable. And so the silence, the interior silence, is capable of changing as practice deepens, and it changes by becoming deeper, so that at some point in that second consent to interior silence, one morphs into presence. So the silence evolves of itself into a sense of the divine presence, or the divine indwelling, as we have made specific acts of faith. It's a movement to the deepening of that second consent, from efforts at interior silence, or letting go of the interruptions that we're getting engaged with. And in our instruction, we've given a whole list of different kinds of thoughts so that one can be alert to them. Right. The answer to all of which is return ever so gently to the sacred symbol. So stillness then is the deepest place, you might say, of the letting go of the interior dialogue, when we actually begin to experience periods of time when there are virtually no thoughts, or at least no thoughts that are stimulating or attractive for our attention. In fact, one of the problems that occurs in that consent is that you have thoughts that you don't want. So then there's a tendency to be annoyed or angry or discontent. And so need to renew the purity of our intention just to be in the presence of God, and let that presence decide what the content of our prayer in any particular moment is going to be.